Hello, Mike and my dear fellow groaners. You're tuned in again to the Groan Zone for episode 36 this week. God, the numbers just keep going up. 36. A little birdie told me to watch the skies on Sunday, as apparently it's UFO day. If anyone sees any little green men, make sure you aren't high on your own supply first. Enjoy the UFO spotting, and please, try not to get abducted by any aliens out there, okay? Enjoy. If you catch any decent photos, please take a picture minus the Potato 3000. We've got high-def cameras for a reason. Catch the UFO that way, if you do see one. And please, no smudges. Make it real. Anyway, what we've got coming to you this week? We have more Ohhh Unlucky. More Well That's Creepy. More Zeros of the Week. More groaning goodness for myself and the audience. And your games this week are Give Me the Question and Yes or BS. Last thing before we get to it. Audience, I owe you a deep apology. I made a points boo-boo last week with the first question of mythical or legendary. I said anyone who said myth for the first one was wrong. You were actually correct. So retrospectively, give yourselves a point for this week's show in advance, which doesn't get blanked. My gift to you. Have a point on me. Now that I've humbled myself, let's see if I can get through this week's show without bumbling or messing up. I think the chances of that could be slim. We will see. With my groan time. Groan 1. When your mobile or cell phone signal drops and it stays that way for hours, yet your family on different networks have signal and can carry data. I mean, hello? Did I get transportation back to 1993? 1983? Or 2013 for the early mobile phones or lesser signal regions? Give me my signal and 4G, soon to be 5G. That's all I want. A decent signal, not a 1-bar signal or something less than that when I can't get a signal and do anything on my phone. Can't text nobody, can't go on the net. What am I supposed to do with my phone? Groan 2. When you feel hungry, yet you cannot eat, or you don't feel hungry, yet you want to eat. The body and mind is a weird thing. Groan 3. When you're putting a sock on, and your big toe, for some reason, activates Hulk mode, and smashes its way through the top of the sock, in an old or new pair. Yep, that's happened to me, and a little bit painful, but also quite disheartening if you just wrecked a pair of new socks, especially when they're your favourites. Rest in peace, socks. You'll be missed. But that's another week's groans expired for me. Whew. It's hard work being so groany, but your turn later, audience, as promised, always. But let's turn it up for yes or BS. Round number 1, all about the zone round. Gone a bit meta here. This round is all about the podcast. So, round 1. Option A. Round 1, what? Yay, the first mess up. Yay, congrats. Option A. The Groan Zone was created just after Halloween 2022. Option B. On the very first episode in game number 1, I messed up the entire first game of Yes or BS. And C. Episode 2 was the first episode to feature music in the form of a backing track. Those playing along live, answer when you're ready. Those playing along after the fact, have a little pause, have a little think, answer when you're ready. Here come the answers. Someone's tried to be a bit trick the system here and they've gone for A and B together. Sorry, audience member, you can only pick one. And your time is ticking. Pick one. Got a few people going for A and B now, thanks to that audience member there. Gotta hurry, you guys. What you going with? Okay, we have an A and B split. Okay, we'll come to that later. Round number 2, the 10th Schwarzenegger B round. I know that's not a B that works out really well, nor was it related to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Option A. Arnold Schwarzenegger began lifting weights when he was 11 years old. Option B. Bees can fly at a top speed of 12 miles an hour. And option C. August the 10th is World Lion Day. As before, same with the last round. Ready when you are. Nope. Someone's gone straight for A there. Someone's gone for B. A lot of A's and B's this week. Okay, that's it. Again, answers will come later. And the last round, round number 3. The Flamingo Cheese Podcast Round. Option A. Each podcast listener downloads 7 hours of podcast content per week. Option B. Rather than being invented, cheese was discovered by accident. And option C. The flamingo can only eat when its head is tilted to one side. Last round, just waiting for those answers to fly in there. What are you thinking, audience? What are you thinking? Oh, someone's flung in the first C there. Got a B coming in. Oh, and an A as well. Any more answers flying in there? Are we coming in? The Spoon Man's returned. Someone's wrote, plus spoon is the only kitchen utensil mentioned on the pod. Okay. I don't know where that falls in with the answers, so I'm going to automatically give you, you can have answer C for your spoon answer. Okay? Right. We'll come back to the answers, not the spoons, later on in the show. Let's have some creepiness now, shall we? As we dip into, well, that's creepy. So this week, I read about 4 idiot teenagers who kidnapped a prize swan, then killed it and ate it, not to distress any listeners out there. Thankfully, the 4 offspring of the swan were saved and are doing really well. But what I find creepy is, what kind of world are we living in when things like this happen? It's beyond messed up, and I've just got to say it. Well, that's creepy. Why the hell would you want to eat a swan? I mean, why? I've never looked at a swan and gone, swan meat. No. Moving swiftly on, with the audience groan. Here it is, groaners. One of you out there gets your chance to shine this week. This week's is the turn of a random police officer in Newcastle upon Tyne, and his groan was people when you can hear them chewing food loudly. I've got to admit, it's not always easy to chew quietly, especially when you're doing crisps, popcorn, or KFC, but a good groan still nonetheless. He groaned at me verbally, but you can also give me your groan to the show. Now you're wondering, I bet you're wondering, how can I do that? How can I give the show my groan or anything else? Glad you asked. You can find me on Facebook Messenger directly under Mystery Groaner. You can find the Groan Zone on Discord. You can send off onto the Facebook group with the Groan Zone podcast on Facebook groups. And lastly, you can send off to the good old email at thegroanzonepod@gmail.com. You can send us your groan zones. Groans, I mean. You can send in your nominations for Hero Zero of the Week. You can send in your Ohhh Unluckies. You can send in your, well, that's creepy stories, your suggestions, your feedback, or anything you think might benefit the show. Anyway, that's now by the by. Let's move on to our second game with Gimme the Question. 3 rounds, and I'm looking for the right question to the answer that I give you. Here we go. Round 1. Your answer is nonagon. Your questions are, number 1, what polygon has only one side? 2, what polygon has 9 sides? 3, what polygon has 7 sides? Got a lot of people thinking here in the audience. And I dare say a lot of people thinking who were listening after the fact when this has been recorded. Someone's gone in for option 2. Okay. Alright. No other anyone out there? Nope. Okay. Moving on to round number 2. Your answer is Z1. Your questions are as follows. Option 1. What is a driving term for the first zone you turn off into on a motorway? Option 2. What was the name of the world's first programmable computer? And option 3. What was going to be the name of Doctor Who's K9 companion before they changed it to K9? If there's any geeks out there, or any drivers out there, you should know this. And that's not a clue. I'll repeat it because someone's asked us to. Your answer is Z1. That's Z1. Or Z1, as some people would say. Okay. Same audience member's gone for option B again. Anybody else? Nope. everyone else has fallen silent. Okay, last round. Your answer is White Castle. Your questions are: number 1, who were the original fast food chain in America? 2, where does the White Witch live in the sequel film to The Wizard of Oz? And option 3, what is a hacker term for the base of where a white hat hacker resides on the internet? And yes, that was a bit of a tongue twister. Okay, someone's throwing the hat in there, no pun intended. Straight in with option C, and we'll have a few go in for option 1. Okay, answers will come later before the end of the show. We've had our games, now let's unveil our poor unlucky person in Ohhh Unlucky! And this week's Ohhh Unlucky falls to the guy where a seagull swooped down and actually nicked the ice cream cone out of his hand. By God, if this happened to me, I'd go mad. The poor swine. I mean, wow, just wow. How unlucky do you need to be to have a seagull do this to you? Personally, I hate seagulls, but I'm just putting it out there. If there's any seagulls listening, go away. Don't think seagulls like my podcast, never mind. Moving on now, zero of the week. Well, in a week of utter madness, it was hard to pick a zero this week, as I was spoiled for choice. I think I'm going to stay away from controversy, play safe, and no politics, etc, etc. This week's zero of the week goes to the British? You know, I shouldn't have said anything about messing up because I've done it 3 times on the podcast. This week's zero of the week goes to the British fitness trainer who thought it'd be a good idea to carve his name into one of the walls of Rome's Colosseum. Joke's on you, you fool. Because of your idiocy, you could face a possible 5 years in prison. What a prat. What an absolute zero. Well deserved, you plum. And now, as promised my groan crew, here are this week's game answers. Here we go. You're going to find out if you got points now. Round 1, all about the zone round. If you picked option A, the groan zone was created just after Halloween 2022, false. The first episode was created just in time before Halloween 2022. Option B, if you went for this one, on the very first episode in game number 1, I messed up the entire first game of Yes or BS. Actually false. Though I was nervous, I only managed to fluff up 1 round. Nothing's changed. Option C, episode 2 was the first episode to feature music in the form of a backing track. Actually true. And the audience member who actually suggested that is still with us to this day, still listening in and playing along live. Hi audience member, you know who you are. Round 2, the 10th Schwarzenegger B round. Option A, if you went for this one, Arnold Schwarzenegger began lifting weights when he was 11 years old. I lied. His age was 15, not 11. Sorry. Option B. It's actually true. Bees can fly at 12 miles an hour and that's their top speed. And option C. Didn't know this, but apparently August the 10th really is World Lion Day. And round 3. The Flamingo Cheese Podcast round. Option A. You went for this one. Each podcast listener downloads 7 hours of podcast content per week. Actually false. The number falls at about 3.8 hours a week. And option B. Rather than being invented, cheese was discovered by accident. Actually true. And option C. No, the flamingo can only eat when its head is upside down. Which must be strange for the flamingo, but then again, we couldn't really do what the flamingo does, so it's probably natural to them. Eating it upside down. Odd. Moving on, give me the question. Your answer for round 1 was nonagon. If you picked the question of what polygon has 9 sides, which is number 2, you're absolutely correct. Round 2. Your answer was Z1. If you again went for question number 2, what was the name of the world's first programmable computer, you are correct. Last round. Your answer was White Castle. Your question, or should I say the right question, was number 1. Who was the original fast food chain in America? It actually is White Castle, and they were out there as early as 1921, producing burgers for the masses. And with that, we come out of the groan zone again together for another week. Plenty more to come next week, Groaners, and I hope I see you then. You stay groany. Bye bye.